Hi everyone, welcome back. The mail. Not a very exciting topic, but mail delivering in the Wild West, now that is exciting. When you think of the Wells Fargo logo, the iconic Stagecoach likely comes to mind. If you've seen any old Western movie, a stagecoach race is bound to come up. The exciting action makes you think, were there people that stopped these robbers? Well, there were, and one was a total badass female, Mary Fields. Let's get started. And really fast, my last name is Fields, her last name is Fields. That's a little bit crazy. And yes, I'm doing two Marys back to back. Don't care, she's just cool. Here we go. You want to know what's crazy? When you use makeup and then you go onto your phone and it doesn't recognize your face, it's like, am I that unrecognizable without makeup? Mary Fields was born into slavery in early 1832 in Hickman County, Tennessee. Since she was born into slavery, we don't know much about her childhood. But what we do know is that she worked for the Warner family in West Virginia in the years leading up to the Civil War. After the Emancipation Act was passed in 1863, Mary, along with many other slaves, were emancipated. And she found work on, and this is the Robert E. Lee steamboat on the Mississippi River as a chambermaid. It was while working on another steamboat along the river that she met Judge Edmund Doone. He took a liking to her and she went to work in his household as a servant. I don't know when or for how long, but around 1870, after Edmund's wife died, he sent Mary and all 5 of his wife's children to live with his sister, Mother Mary Amadeus, in Toledo, Ohio, where Mary began to work for the Ursuline convent. The Ursulines, also known as the Order of Saint Ursula, is an enclosed religious order that branched off from the Angelines, basically a group of sacred women in the Catholic Church. They of course worship Jesus, but they also worshipped Saint Angelina Medici, who founded the Angelines and worshipped Saint Ursula. And the Ursulines were dedicated to community service, social justice, and most importantly, the education of women. Mary worked at the convent, maintaining the gardens and grounds, washing the laundry, and managing the kitchen. Mary was known to have a hot and easily lost temper and was the definition of a get off my lawn person after she cut it. One nun even said about Mary and her lawn, quote, "God help anyone who walked on the lawn after Mary had cut it." End quote. In October of 1884, Mother Mary Amadeus, or Sarah Teresa Doone, and 5 Ursuline nuns went to the then Montana Territory to establish and run a school for Native girls at the St. Peter's Mission. This was a boarding school for Native Americans founded in 1874, and the mission taught math, French, English, and manual skills like metalworking, wood carving, and leather making. Unfortunately, in April of 1885, Mother Amadeus fell ill with pneumonia, and as she got worse, word got back to the convent. It is thought that because of Mother Amadeus falling ill, that this led to Mary traveling to St. Peter's Mission to take care of her. It is also said that she and Mary were friends, going as far back as when Mary was working with the Doone family as their servant. And yes, Mother Amadeus, with her last name being Doone, is part of the Doone family from a marriage. It is also thought that the nuns needed Mary for help around the grounds and support running the school. When Mary and Mother Stanislaus, who was a nun nurse, arrived at St. Peter's, there were about 150 people there. They already had a large garden and farm animals, and Mary worked to make sure all the staff and students were fed. Mother Amadeus luckily recovered from pneumonia, and Mary decided to stay. So for the next 10 years, Mary took on work that was considered men's work, like doing repairs, maintenance, repairing buildings, like she literally rebuilt buildings, hauling freight, chopped wood, tended to the chickens, grew vegetables, did the gardening, laundry, and eventually became the forewoman. Before we continue, let me explain her presence, because you look at that photo and you're just like, whoa. Mary was black, 6 feet tall, tougher than an ox, and as strong as a man. The natives called Mary White Crow because, quote, she acts like a white person but has black skin. Sure. She even provided protection for the nuns and the school, and most importantly, Mary was in charge of the locating and delivery of supplies the nuns needed. Like, there's literally a photo of her with the nuns on her wagon that she did all these deliveries on. And may I say, she would be protection from anybody, not just nuns in the 1800s. Talk about an awesome bodyguard. Now, of course, Mary's temper was a temper. It enabled her to get jobs done, sure, but it also got her into some heat and made the community a little uncomfortable. Most because when I say Mary didn't give a damn, she didn't give a damn. Along with her crazy temper, supposedly she dressed up as a man and participated in duels. I'm assuming gun duels, but you look at her and I wouldn't be surprised if she also did knife and sword duels. She had vulgar behavior and liked to drink and smoke with men at the local saloons. And she works with nuns and children. Baller. Again, she doesn't give a damn. The last straw for the mission seemed to have happened in 1894. So what had happened was Mary and a male janitor got into a fight. About what? I don't know. There was no information about that. I would love to have known what the fight was about, though. But this fight got so heated that it led to guns being drawn and waved around and I'm gonna pew pew you and all that stuff. It left the guy a little roughed up and greatly embarrassed. However, I would assume Mary was like, understandably, Bishop Philbus and E. Burwaner fired Mary after this and dismissed her from the mission. Having been kicked out of the convent, Mary went to the neighboring town of Cascade, Montana, where she was the only black person. Look, I grew up in Utah, and I kind of know the feeling of being the only black person in an entire room or apartment complex. Or Costco, it's a really weird feeling. Her reputation in the town was complicated, mainly because she resisted any and all racial stereotypes. She refused, offended even, to be offered jobs traditionally done by black women like a domestic servant in a white home. So she tried to open a tavern/restaurant, but after 10 months, due to Mary not charging poor customers and subpar food and a couple of other things, it closed due to bankruptcy. She became known for liking hard liquor and gunfights, but this time around it would work in her favor. Drink water. At the age of 60, Mary got a contract to be a Starro Carrier for the United States Postal Office Department in 1895. A Starro Carrier was an independent contractor and used their own stagecoach to deliver the mail. The contractee did this with certainty, celerity, and security. Now, prior to 1845, the transportation of mail was done by rail and given to bidders who offered stage or coach services, but this was abolished in March of 1845 by an act of Congress. This provided that the Postmaster General should lease all contracts to the lowest bidder who offered a guarantee to faithfully perform without any conditions except to provide celerity, certainty, and security of transportation. These became known as celerity, certainty, and security bids and were given the symbol of 3 stars, thus becoming the Star Routes. Mary used the stagecoach Mother Amadeus donated to her, and this job was perfect for her. When she was hired by help from the Ursuline nuns, Mary became the first African-American woman and the second woman to receive a Starro contract from the U.S. Postal Office. Now, you might be wondering, well, why are the nuns helping her out if they booted her? Well, the nuns still wanted to look out for her because they felt connected to her. That, and they didn't want her to go too far because they still relied on Mary heavily to do work on their mission grounds. Now, since Mary was an independent contractor and not an employee of the post office, she had to get her own transportation, drive the route herself, sublease the route, or hire a driver. But Mary being Mary, she did it all herself. This has been in the frame the whole time, huh? That's embarrassing. Mary grew a reputation of being a fearless mail carrier, and being in the Wild West, you had to be. Mary's job was not only to deliver the mail, but to protect the mail from weather, bandits, thieves, wolves. I mean, it is 1890s Montana, so wolves were more prevalent back then, but imagine you're protecting mail from wolves. To protect her mail deliveries, she carried a lot of guns. Her gun of choice was a .38 Smith & Wesson revolver that she hid under her apron to protect herself, her horses, a mule named Moses, and of course the mail. For the next 8 years, she never missed a day of work on her route, which ran between St. Peter's Mission and Cascade. She would do this 34-mile round trip all year, all weather, Montana weather to be exact. Speaking of the weather, during the winter, if the snow got too deep for her stagecoach and the horses, she would do the route with snowshoes to deliver sacks of mail on her back on foot. In Montana winter, in the 1890s, in 1890s winter clothes, in her 60s. The reputation she built gained her the nickname of Stagecoach Mary because she preferred to use a stagecoach to do her route. She also got the name Black Mary. I don't know why. I'm assuming because she was black and her name was Mary, so why not? Though Mary was intimidating and thieves feared her, the locals loved her. She became an avid supporter of the local baseball team. She was praised for her generosity and kindness to children. In fact, she was so well liked in the town that the owner of the Cascade Hotel, along with other local saloons, allowed her to access their facilities, a privilege that was overall denied to women because Montana passed a really dumb bill, if you ask me, that forbade women to enter saloons. I'm guessing because it's a man's thing, but 1890s logic. But the mayor of Cascade gave Mary an exception. She was so loved by the town of Cascade that the town closed its schools to celebrate her freaking birthday every year. How cool of a black person in the 1890s do you need to be for an all-white town next door to nuns to close down their schools for your birthday every year? Like, you must be really freaking cool. I mean, she delivered their mail, and mail is important. Which, by the way, did you know that a black man invented the mailbox? The more you know. After 8 years of faithfully delivering the mail, her age and body caught up to her, and she retired from her Star Route service in 1903 at the age of 71. After she retired, she started a laundry business as well as babysat local children. Remember that baseball team she supports? The team loved her so much that they made her their mascot. Yes. She drank at the saloons for free, ate at the restaurants and hotels for free. Like, she was freaking pampered. When her laundry business, which she ran out of her home, caught fire and burned down in 1912, volunteers came together to rebuild her home for her. Mary Fields died on December 5th, 1914 from natural causes at the ripe old age of 81 or 82. When her funeral was held, it was one of the largest the town had ever seen. She is buried in the Hillside Cemetery just outside of Cascade that is along the road she drove her stagecoach frequently to deliver the mail. Because the Wild West has been inflated more than movies ever will to make all of these legends, and records were just not keep, many facts about Mary's life are fuzzy. Her legacy has been in many movies, including The Cherokee Kid in 1898, where she is played by Dawn Lewis. She is played by Zazie Beetz in the 2021 Netflix film The Harder They Fall, and awesomely, she makes an appearance in the 2024 movie Outlaw Posse, where she is played by Whoopi freaking Goldberg. You have peaked when Whoopi Goldberg plays you in a movie. Just saying. Though we don't know everything about her life, what is clear is that Mary needs no Hollywood fluffness to become a legend of Montana herstory. Short and sweet. Kind of needed something a little bit short and sweet because my life and work is crazy right now. But you know a story of a badass mail carrier who's black and a woman. Like what the... Who knew that delivering the mail could be so badassery? We love it. If you learned something today, and I sure hope you did, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And while you're down there, please leave a friendly comment. I will see you in my next video. Until then, don't be well behaved. You just might make herstory. See you next time, guys.